Welcome to the Know, I'm Mica Burton. Another day, another set of problems for Valve. The company in charge of Steam is now under investigation for the European Commission for Anti-Competitive Practices. According to the Commission's announcement, Valve and 5 publishers, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Focus Home, Koch Media, and ZeniMax, have been engaging in agreements that don't allow for cross-European competition. Most of this has to do with geo-blocking Steam keys to certain regions, which the EU Commission says restricts parallel trade. This isn't the first time Valve has had to deal with heat from governing bodies. Last year, they got dinged by Australia for false advertising in a decision that cost them $3 million. The formal investigation by the EC is now underway, but there's no official legal deadline, so this could last for quite a while. We're well into 2017, but we're still waiting on word from some of Ubisoft's annual franchises like Assassin's Creed. But we might have some clues that Far Cry is still getting its yearly entry later this fall. According to SG Gaming Info, GameStop may have internally published a listing for Far Cry 5, dated for November 26, 2017. While the date itself sounds like a placeholder, November 26 is a Sunday, there is an SKU number attached to the product, which means it's probably a real title that they're expecting sometime in the fall. However, that does contradict with some statements by Ubisoft. Back in September, Ubisoft VP Tommy Francois indicated that we shouldn't necessarily expect a new Assassin's Creed or Far Cry this year. So far, rumored settings for the next Far Cry include remote Alaska, spaghetti western, an island of dinosaurs, vampires, or a future sci-fi setting. And it'll probably have drugs. In the wake of Capcom's share prices dropping, even after the solid releases for Resident Evil 7, the company got more bad financial news. They just did a quarterly earnings report with shareholders where they announced that both profits and revenue are down. In particular, the problem areas were Monster Hunter and Dead Rising, which didn't quite rise to the level the company had hoped. Moreover, Street Fighter V is still moving very slowly. They only sold about 100,000 copies in the last 9 months. However, they promise now that they're going to start aggressively promoting the critically well-received Resident Evil 7 with a focus on its VR capabilities. It's a little late for that now, Capcom. Nioh releases next week, and reviews are already starting to pour in. The Sword and Samurai game currently has an 86 on Metacritic at the time of writing, based on 22 reviews. So far, the early consensus seems to be that it helps scratch some of the itch left by Dark Souls, but suffers from being a little bit repetitive. DualShocker says, Team Ninja's latest labor of love is packed with charm, atmosphere, and one of the best action battle systems that you'll find across the industry. Since Nintendo officially unveiled the Switch in January, the system has been heavily criticized for its soft lineup. And now, Nintendo is responding to that criticism in 2 ways. First, they've updated the list of upcoming titles from 80 to 100, now that more developers and publishers have jumped on board with the new system. According to Nintendo, many game makers reached out to them about ports for following the system's Tokyo debut. Nintendo President Kimishima is also responding to the criticism of the launch lineup directly. Speaking at the company's recent financial briefing, Kimishima said, "Our thinking in arranging the 2017 software lineup is that it's important to continue to provide new titles regularly without long gaps. This encourages consumers to continue actively playing the system, maintains buzz, and spurs continued sales momentum for Nintendo Switch." He went on to point out Zelda at launch, and then ARMS, Splatoon, and Mario Kart coming in the months following. So the idea is to drip feed games throughout the year rather than front load them at launch. Could Nintendo be considering a new handheld that's not the Switch? The Japanese newspaper Kyoto Shimbun quoted Nintendo President Tatsumi Kimishima as saying he's considering a 3DS successor because he sees a need and a market for it. That was reported by game industry consultant Cirque and Toto. There weren't any more details, but Toto thinks that Kimishima was referring to a completely new machine as opposed to a 3DS refresh. Please let this be true. Help us, Nintendo. You're our only hope. Today is the day, Fire Emblem fans! The franchise's new mobile game, Fire Emblem Heroes, is scheduled to be released today on iOS and Android. Like other Fire Emblem games, Heroes is a turn-based RPG which you round up an army of characters, and for this game, they'll come from titles across the series' history. According to Nintendo, the game has an original story of warring kingdoms. Battle-wise, it's pretty much the same grid-based tactical battles that you're used to if you're a Fire Emblem fan. You can also use orbs that you win in combat or that you purchase with real money to summon other Fire Emblem heroes. Time will tell if this is as popular as Pokemon Go, but we here at the Know are officially super excited, even though there's no marriage in the game. Sad face. Fresh off making an awesome Star Wars movie, J.J. Abrams is producing a World War II movie that has some supernatural elements. The movie, titled Overlord, follows 2 paratroopers who try and destroy a German radio tower during D-Day invasion. But they get caught behind enemy lines and must battle supernatural forces due to Nazi experiments. holy crap, does this mean ghost Nazis? Zombie Nazis? Who knows? This feels more like a video game. Anyway, the movie doesn't have a release date yet, but we'll let you know when it drops. Need a hot tip on who's going to win the Super Bowl? Madden NFL 17 has a prediction for the big game. After EA Sports ran a simulation using the latest version of the game, it predicted that the New England Patriots would beat the Atlanta Falcons 27-24 this Sunday. Before you laugh, the simulation accurately predicted both the winner and the final score in 2015. And if Madden 17 is right this year, it'll have been right 11 out of 12 times. Screw video games, EA needs to get into sports betting with those kind of results. A prominent FIFA YouTuber who was charged with promoting gambling is heading to court in England next week. Craig Douglas, aka Nep and the Z, and another defendant, Dylan Rigby, have both pleaded not guilty after they were charged with promoting gambling with FIFA Ultimate Team coins. Authorities say the two own numerous gambling websites which allowed users to buy, sell, and trade in-game currency, and that Douglas promoted examples of these on his YouTube channel. The hearing is expected to last a week. In a recent video, Douglas said, "There's a probability that I won't be walking out of court on Monday morning, and that's scary." That is scary. That's all we have for the roundup today. Be sure to let us know what you think of any of these stories down in the comments, and for more news from every corner of the internet, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Nioh. We're well into 2017, but we're still waiting on word from some of Ubisoft's annual franchises like Assassin's Creed. But we might going Australian. Could Nintendo be considering a new handheld that's not the Switch? The Japanese newspaper Kyoto Shinbun